Good day, stand out in the world. We are back here at the Harvest Studios, episode 6 of the Shaolin Sports Podcast. I'm Ray Palmer. To my left, the man, the myth, the legend, the man who is reinventing the English language one expression at a time, my good friend Peter Timmons. Peachy, welcome back.
Hello, Doc. I got to tell you, it's a pleasure to be back down in the studios here. This is a very exciting Sunday. We're watching the NFC, AFC games. We're not going to comment on them because it's going to be too late when everybody sees it, but what a great day, boys.
Yeah, so we're recording this on a Sunday. It'll be out tomorrow, Monday afternoon. So we're going to avoid commenting too much on the football because by the time we give our opinions, that game would have already passed. So we're going to focus on a few things. One, we'll acknowledge to the people who reached out and said, hey, what's up to the next podcast? We went through a little Stevie O. We got that little flu battle, as we know, that's been going around. And the flu took down Stevie O. And if you know anything about us, Peachy and I are incapable of turning on an iPad or a computer, much less running the Roadster and downloading and amplifying and gigabyting. So Stevie was out for a minute. And as you see here, my arm in the sling, little shoulder surgery during the week. Not that much fun. This has not been my favorite week ever. But managed to get up off the couch here and get down to Harvest Studios so we can bring you the 6th episode of the Shaolin Sports Podcast, Peach. As he takes a sip from Mini Deborah. I'm sorry, what's the name of that cup?
No, this is not Mini Deborah. It's Deborah and Deborah. So if everybody knows when I have the big 7-Eleven, that's Deborah. And then, unfortunately, I lent out Deborah to somebody. I never really got it back.
Oh, my goodness.
So it is little depressing when, you wanted to have the two brother and sister together. But listen, you make it work. You figure things out like what you do with your shoulder and Stevie with his illness that he had. But we're back, boys. That's all that matters.
All right, first segment. First segment is going to be brought to you by Jody's Club Forest. We love Jody's. Jody's is the best in the industry. 372 Forest Avenue, 718-727-6338. I mean, what can you not get from Jody's? The menu just goes deep. Once in a while, T-Bone will have his T-Bones. I call it. He doesn't say that, but I do. T-Bones will be the specials, best steak you could have for like $40. You walk out there with a nice big T-bone with sides. Can't beat that. Parties. We all love Jody's Club Forest, Peach.
Listen, I went to an event last night on the South Shore, and I'm nothing to do with South Shore restaurants or bars or anything like that. But the difference of what I feel of bartenders and camaraderie. Did I just?
Yes. That was the first one. Camaraderie.
Okay. When people get together, it's a different atmosphere.
Camaraderie.
Camaraderie.
There you go. All right.
Camaraderie. It was a different style. It was different. And then you realize that you get a bar bill when you actually don't know people that work, and you get a buy back here and there. And I got my bar bill, and I was like, I'm never crossing Victory Boulevard ever again.
Well, I'll say I'm defending the South Shore a little bit. I think it's just our little nook, like our little Randall Manor, Kettle Black, Jody's, little loop that we have, Duffy's. I remember your brother Lukey telling us a story. He went a little Sunday fun day one day. I won't name the establishment, but it's on Forest Avenue and still considered North Shore. And he went there for a nice Sunday fun day and got a bill for about $500 at the end, because in our neighborhood, you keep ordering shooters. Guys get buybacks. We take care of one another. Whereas other places, every shot you order, bang, bang, bang. Those things add up. So when you go to a place like Jody's Club Forest, yes, it's not free, but certainly everybody does the right thing. People work together. A lot of buybacks, a lot of taking care of one another. That's how this neighborhood works.
A lot of little plastic cups in front. It's like you're playing like Monopoly. You bought Park Place, and all of a sudden you have 6 or 7. And you can't say no.
It's rude. Yeah, no one wants to be rude,
and you don't pass them off because that's just not right for business purposes.
Yeah,
I saw somebody do that the other day, and I was like, did someone just pass over 2 shot glasses? I know that someone bought you a drink, but if that's the case, just give them back. You don't just pass them over to somebody.
Cannot give a buyback to somebody else. Absolutely not.
It's a trash move.
Rest in peace, Black Dog. Blacks used to have the chips. That was cool. They didn't mind if you stacked them up and came back one day too. So that was cool back in the day. But anyway, and Black Dog will be back with one of our other sponsors. At least the location will be back. It's another point. We'll get there in a minute. So, Peach, let's go down to the NFL. NFL, we missed since from our little unintentional hiatus. We want to talk some NFL hirings. First one, it made you upset. I'm more of a wait and see on this one. New York Jets bring back former cornerback and defensive coordinator for the Lions, Aaron Glenn. So Jets coach Aaron Glenn. Peach, what do you think?
I don't get it. You need an offensive coordinator minded for the Jets. Everybody's they have no offensive line. I get it, but you still have to put points on the board, and I think it creates a little conundrum. Okay, conundrum, good word.
We're there,
right? So you bring a defensive minded coordinator from the Lions, right? Now you're put in a position where the Jets don't really have a position to gain a good or draft a quarterback. And I heard someone was talking about Garoppolo or other names are being mentioned. But right now, they're going to have to bring back Rodgers, and hopefully they bring somebody that can be tutored underneath him. But I'm not a fan of just hiring defense coordinators. I get if you had a good offense, but to hire a defense coordinator where you need an offensive strategy, it's not the right fix or hire for me. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think with any head coaching job, we don't know these people personally, and we certainly don't know. I don't know Aaron Glenn. I never met Aaron Glenn. I know he was a fantastic player in his day, and I know he's put the work in as an assistant, kind of worked his way up, bounced around a little bit, has had tremendous success. And it happened a lot. You see those New England coaches every year would get hired because New England had success. When you have success in sports, your coaches tend to get promoted, and that's what's happened here with Aaron Glenn. We'll see what happens. They say Rams tight end coach and passing game coordinator Nick Caley, or Caley, Caley, not sure how to pronounce it, but he's the leading candidate to be the offensive coordinator now for the Jets. So the Jets didn't go with the big name. They didn't go with they didn't go Mike Vrabel. They didn't go Pete Carroll. They went with more of giving someone their first shot. And I think that in that case, that's been successful a lot in years. You see some coaches, in Sirianni in Philadelphia, guys that coordinators that got promoted certainly know how to put the work in, like Aaron Glenn and Sirianni and others get a chance with a big job.
Listen, I'm just being a little pessimistic here, and I'll think more.
A Jet fan being pessimistic? Why would that be?
I'm not a Jet fan. I'm a Giant fan, which that's another story I don't even want to touch right now. But I just don't think that it was the right fit for the Jets. I could be wrong, and we'll find out, in a year from now. I don't know if that even matters.
All right. The biggest joke, I think it's the consensus is Dallas. So I'm not sure. We didn't talk much about this, Peach. Brian Schottenheimer, never a head coach. He was the offensive coordinator in Dallas, but didn't even call the plays. McCarthy called the plays.
He wasn't the offensive coordinator. He was an analyst.
Well, he was listed as the coordinator, and he was,
right.
But he didn't call the plays. So
right.
he was listed as technically was the coordinator, but he wasn't the guy in charge. He was essentially someone that worked with McCarthy. This has just Jerry Jones written all over it. This has Jerry. I'm going to pull the puppet strings and do what I want to do, and I'm going to use you as a figurehead while I'm going to get my Jerry Jones on. It just seems like Jerry Jones hasn't figured out that the Cowboys have been, with a few exceptions, the laughing stock of the NFL for the last 10, 15 years.
No, literally. And the money they spend and, and he just always wants the power. And just even what the media did of saying, Deion Sanders, you're going to bring. Deion is in a very good position at Colorado. He doesn't want to deal with the pompousness of what goes on in Dallas and everything that associates being America's team. So I'm on your same page with you. I don't get the hire either.
Well, Dallas has just been weird, right? Never even called Derrick Henry last year, but went and re-signed Ezekiel Elliott. Never reached out to the top name coaches, never made a big shot at Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, or any proven coordinators. They just went and said, all right, here, offensive coordinator, you're now the head coach. And just as if it's an assembly line, as if you're New England and promote from within. No, it's not what it is. It's a big mess. And as a Giants fan, the NFC East, the team in the NFC East being a mess works for me. So I guess we'll leave that there. So Brian Schottenheimer with Dallas. We've covered Aaron Glenn with the Jets. Now, the big hire, not big as far as name recognition because we don't know him personally and he hasn't been a head coach yet, but Ben Johnson to the Bears. Ben Johnson, wildly successful as a coordinator. The Lions offense has been historic the last few seasons. Sam Goff was left for dead and is now, ranked as one of the top quarterbacks again in the NFL. Actually better than he ever was, even in Los Angeles. So, Peach, how do you feel about Ben Johnson taking over Chicago?
And it's amazing that the Lions, who probably had one of the best seasons they've ever had, in terms of where they were, and listen, you go back, all these teams that had the byes, going even for college playoffs and everything, everybody struggled with the byes. So Detroit, they lost in a shootout versus I'm going to say the Redskins or the Commanders for what it is. But they're writing Goff off like he'll never win the big game. It's like, whoa, he did go to a Super Bowl, and now he reinvented Detroit. And yes, I don't know if they want to stick with him, but I don't see why not. But now the Lions, they lost their offense coordinator and their defensive coordinator to two other positions as head coaches. So that's a rough one for the Lions right there.
And that's the success, right? We talk like New England for years. Every New England assistant was getting hired. The Vrabels and those guys would all bounce around. Ben McAdoo went to the Giants. These guys, and he was the special teams coach for the Patriots when he became the Giants head coach. So winning gets people jobs. If you look at a company and you see the vice president of a very successful company and you're hiring, you're going to say, well, I want to get that guy or that girl or that person, right? So success breeds success, right? That's a kind of a peachy statement there. I love it. All right, so Next one, Patriots bring somebody home. Mike Vrabel, successful coach in Tennessee, didn't win any Super Bowls, didn't go deep in the playoffs, but was a winning coach in the NFL. If you have a above 500 record and you're a winning coach in the NFL, you will stay employed. Went back home to New England. Peach, Mike Vrabel back home. What do you feel?
I love that move. And I think him getting back there, I think the fan base loves it. I think that Patriots need to make some decisions in terms of what they want to do with their offense and defense. But I love the fact that he's going back, and I'm sure the Patriot Nation is going to love it.
Nation, I think, happy with the hire of Vrabel, but many unhappy with the retaining, not sure, retaining the English language, retaining of offensive coordinator, I'm blanking, Josh McDaniels. So McDaniels is going to be back. So it's going to be old school Belichick as far as the coaches or former player in the case of Vrabel, who also coached under Belichick. So they're going to have the same offensive coordinator, new head coach. What do you think about them retaining their offensive coordinator?
There's nothing you really can do because the Patriots are just so bad this year. So I wouldn't say it was so much the offensive coordinator's position that he lost those games, but you can't just keep switching coaches out every year. And there's so many times that, like you have a first year, like in the NFL, you don't win, you're out unless you're that guy. But in this position, I think, you can't just keep getting rid of everybody. And listen, the NFL players at the end of the year, they all bring their stuff and they always have exit interviews and they tell the truth for what it is. And I looked into it and I listened to other, big sports commentators for what they recommend and what they say. And I agree. You like these guys, they tell everything for what it is. If they feel confident with the coach and maybe they just didn't have the personnel, I think that goes a long way.
Yeah, it certainly does. And the familiarity, there's a lot of different things that go into it. And I think in New England, if nothing else, you made your fan base happy, bringing home a successful coach who cut his teeth, who learned how to do things as a head coach in Tennessee, now will come home and hopefully can bring back winning to New England. Another successful coach from New England, at least one-time New England coach, and very successful in Seattle many years. Should have given the ball to Marshall and have another Super Bowl. But either way, Pete Carroll is going to go out there I'm going to say Los Angeles, but to Las Vegas, and he's taking over the Raiders, 3-year contract, the oldest head coach in NFL history, at least to sign a contract. Pete Carroll, a winner, proven winner, does it his way, known as a player's coach. Can 71-year-old Pete Carroll rekindle that magic, Peach, and bring it to Las Vegas, which has been, for the most part, a mess? The Raiders, where the Raiders have been for the last 10, 15 years, been most part just a mess.
Ready for another first-year head coach that now he came, what's his name? Who's the head coach of the Raiders list this year?
I was the linebacker from the Giants.
Yeah, Stevie, what's his name again? Help me out here.
Antonio Pierce.
Antonio Pierce. Yes. Okay, so he took over two years ago, halfway through the season, and he rejuvenated that program, the we'll say program, the NFL Raiders, and they signed him. Where this is going to be a guy, and now he's out after 1 year. So they're not really given a chance to do anything, and I'm not a fan of Pete Carroll going there either. I feel like like they had a head coach that was enthusiastic. He's young. He has things going, and you can't have the players go out and not take responsibility for what it is. You're being paid a lot of money. You're being paid as a professional. It's not always the head coach's job where he can go out there and play for the players. Like there has to be some pride that these guys are making tremendous money with a brand new, stadium and everything that's coming up, and it just doesn't make sense that you don't give a chance anymore in the NFL. And I don't think Pete Carroll at 71 years old is the answer for the Raiders.
The owners seem to always fall into that trap. When you fire a coach mid-season, like the Raiders did last year, and then made Pierce the head coach, when that coach has success, you got to say something in the offseason. Am I going to hire a guy based on, a 6, 7, 8 game stretch? Am I going to give him a full-time position to make him the head coach? And they did. Did he have with Aiden O'Connell and I think Garoppolo, and there's a few people in that quarterback room. It wasn't Garoppolo. It was the other guy. I can't think of his name for the Raiders. But the Raiders were a mess. They weren't given a chance to win. If you don't have a legitimate starting quarterback, you can't win in this league. So the Raiders never really had much of a chance and performed as such. So to blame anything on Pierce, disagree with it vehemently. As far as Pete Carroll, I love it. I just think Pete Carroll's a winner. I think Pete Carroll, if you're going to overhaul your program, he'll bring hope. I'm assuming now that this isn't like a Dallas situation where Pete Carroll's going to be able to come in and be Pete Carroll, bring his own staff, bring in his own people, and bring in that Pete Carroll mojo, that positive attitude. And we'll see where that goes. But I happen to like the hire for the Raiders.
Okay.
Now, the next one is controversial. DJ Stevio, can you punch that in for me here, the code thingy? So the next one was, we covered that. Good. So the next one is The Jaguars. Now, they hired someone named Liam Cohen. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly.
No idea who that is.
Don't know him either. He was a coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay agreed to make him the highest paid offensive assistant in the NFL to stay in Tampa Bay. He agreed. This is after he turned down, excuse me, I should go backwards. The Jaguars interviewed Liam Cohen, but Trent Baalke was still the general manager.
Right.
Cohen turned down the job, saying he didn't want to work with Baalke. And I believe a few other coaches had expressed interest, didn't want to work with Baalke. So the Jaguars said, okay, they're going to move on. The Jaguars decided to move on and go hire somebody else. And Cohen went back to the to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Takes the contract from Tampa Bay that makes him the highest paid assistant, but says you can't go back to Jacksonville. It's actually in the contract.
Right.
Long story short, once they fired Trent Baalke, the Cohen decided, well, if they tried Baalke, I'm in. I want to go back to Jacksonville. Took an interview with Jacksonville without the consent of Tampa Bay, and not sure how it worked out with the tampering and such. But they hired him, and now, long story short, Jacksonville head coach Liam Cohen, and he's now left Tampa Bay. He will no longer be their coordinator. He'll be the head coach in Jacksonville. A lot of controversy behind the way it went down.
Yeah, and then they have a decision to make what they want to do with Trevor Lawrence. You know, he's prone for injury here and there, but, you know, another one with a big contract.
And signed, too, so he'll be around. Yeah, he just signed. He's in year one of like a 5-year deal.
But I don't know if necessarily they want to go with him anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not a Jaguar next year.
Ooh, never heard that one. That would be. It's too hard to do in those first couple of years. You know, like Cleveland. If you were ever going to let go of a quarterback, I mean, in Cleveland, the quarterback situation, such as Deshaun Watson, has been probably, I think, the biggest bust in NFL history or sports history, perhaps. And you went and gave him all that money. They're still saying when he gets healthy, they're going to make him the starting quarterback. Now, he got hurt again in rehab. He tore another ACL. So he's probably going to miss the whole 2025 season. But they were preparing for him to be the starting quarterback again. When you invest hundreds of millions, it's hard to back out in those first couple of years. Now, we have a phone call here. So I'm going to put it on speaker.
You know,
hello?
Anybody?
Yes. Hi. Is this the pizza?
Are you outside?
Yeah, I'll come to the front door right now.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
John,
All right.
yeah, pizza.
Food review coming.
So going back to what we were saying, it's mind-boggling, and it's just the transformation what the NFL is becoming, and it's also becoming like college again, of just the instant hires. You're not producing, and it's too much. It just keep a coach and understand the players have to go out there and perform. It can't always be the coach and everybody's like, oh, the GM, this and that. You go out, and there's not just one person. There's a round table of 30 to 40 guys at these drafts and the decision makings that they do. So you can't just say, like, you know, the head coach is responsible. I get it, because there has to be someone to put the pressure on and say, no, he's not producing. But it's become too much of a game of this, of who's going there and what's going on with each team.
Yeah, I agree. It's the owners aren't going to fire themselves.
Right.
So they place blame elsewhere, and that's unfortunately how it works in this league. DJ Stevie O Jr. is going to slide in, and we're going to take a pause here because, as we all know, pizza is best served hot and fresh. So,
Hey, no, Doc, real quick, before
I'm
we hit
listening,
that,
Peach.
Deshaun Watson was the one that actually was the first one to get that huge contract. He was
Guaranteed,
he was like the pioneer that got that $250 million, and it just trickled down to everybody who started hitting these numbers. And all of these quarterbacks that are making these extreme amount of money, they're not producing their numbers either.
No, I mean, Trevor Lawrence got a ton of money, and he has mediocre at best numbers. I'm on my social media years ago, I put he would be a bust, not a big, huge bust, but in a bust in like a Jameis Winston type level. And I think I nailed that one with Trevor Lawrence. I'm not a fan, but I think Jacksonville gave him that big deal. Quarterbacks are so hard to find that teams will settle. You know, it's that Kirk Cousins mentality. We'll settle for that solid 250-yard, 3-touchdown guy that can manage a game, as opposed, because there's just so few of those. The Jaden Daniels of the world are so few and far between.
Right.
All right, so it's food review time. And this food review, we're going to have it sponsored by, let's see here, I got it in front of me. We're going to have this food review sponsored by Loon Schwan, 85 Page Avenue, 718-967-9819, the best in the Chinese food industry. Rob Chi, the owner. We love ourselves some Loon Schwan. We'll have to review Loon Schwan one day, although I will be heavily biased and give everything a 10 because Loon Schwan is the greatest in the food industry. But we don't have Loon Schwan here today. We have Pier 76 pizza. So we have some Pier 76 pizza. We're going straight Dave Portnoy. Looks Stevie O has always said his favorite pizza is Joe and Pat's, and I couldn't agree more. And I don't know how I'm going to do this with the sling.
Small resemblance.
So, yeah, I believe the previous, there was some ownership comparisons.
What
and such.
was the movie? It might have been maybe Casino, when he said, "Look at this muffin. Look at the blueberries in this muffin."
Look at yours. What? Look at that. Look at this. There's nothing. Look how many blueberries your muffin has and how many mine has. Yours is falling apart. I have nothing. What are you talking about?
And look at the blueberries in this muffin. I'm looking at the pizza. The ratio of cheese and to sauce on certain slices is kind of different, huh, Doc?
Yeah, no, it's not balanced perfectly.
No, a lot of
DJ
sauce.
Stevie O got some napkins here, so we're going to dig in. Pizza review. Pizza review time for old school people that listen to the when I was really bored during COVID. DJ Stevie O, can I help you? Can I help you?
I'll get one for
One for Stevie. All right, good. There
I'll
we go.
take this one.
This is, old Joe and Pat's owners are saying DJ Stevie O?
Yeah,
One of the sons were told. Okay, so this is Pier 76. They're on Bay Street. Delivered, so not piping hot, but hot enough.
I agree. Let's rock with it.
Peach, you go right ahead.
Delivery, and I'm not a big delivery pizza guy because it's very tough to distinguish actually eating a place like Joe and Pat's. You got to eat it there. But this pizza delivered from Pier 76, I think it's on Richmond Terrace.
It's on
Bay Street?
Yes, no, the terrace. You're right. Or is it Bay Street?
I think it turns over from Richmond Terrace to Bay Street. No,
It'll be on the box. Let's see. It's on Bay Street, 76 Bay Street, 718-447-7437. They are not a sponsor, but being that we ordered from them, and I guess we got to start ordering from sponsors going forward. I really haven't really thought much about this, but we love our sponsors.
Very good.
We can be. It is very good. So what do you got, Peach? 1 to 10, decimal points allowed.
I'm going to say 8.4. It's a very good pizza.
It is.
And listen, I take in consideration that it was delivered. It was probably out of the oven 15 minutes ago. 15 minutes to get here. Still great crunch. I don't like it super hot. I think it's a very good piece of pizza. I'm sticking to my 8.4.
DJ Stevie, you want to chime in here?
Yeah, this is absolutely a 9 because Joe and Pat's is a 10, and this is not exactly Joe and Pat's. There's something about the dough or the crust that doesn't make it exactly Joe and Pat's, and I have a lot of experience with Joe and Pat. But to me, Joe and Pat's is always going to be 10, along with Danino's, Brothers Sicilian, and LMB Sicilian.
Love LMB.
This is as close you could get to Joe and Pat's. The sauce is almost there. The crust is almost there. So it's a solid 9. I'd eat it all day long. But because I'm a Joe and Pat's guy, I would go there first. That's it.
I tell you, I do like a nice thin crust. I hate thick pizza. I do like the thick. Oh, you heard that crack?
I couldn't even break it. I'm on one hand banned these days. I'm going for a second slice against the rules, but this is where's the mic? This is excellent. Like you pointed out, Peach, and Steve, you said the crust is a little thicker, I think, or a little something, a little more to it. Not by a lot, not in a negative way, but a little bit more to it.
There's just a slight difference, very slight. And if you didn't grow up on it like me, you probably wouldn't know. But I ate millions of pies from Joe and Pat's. You could just tell there's a slight difference, but it's still excellent. Same recipe.
I'm gonna go right with Peach. I'm gonna tag team, Timmons and Palmer, Doc and Peachy. What do we say? Rob Wise called us Peaches and Cream, which I thought was pretty funny the other day.
Good song.
Peaches and Cream. Anyway, I'm going 8.4. This is just really, really good pizza. I haven't had Pier 76. I had the pierogies from Pier 76 recently. Maybe I should have ordered those too. Anyway, 8.4 from me, 8.4 from Peachy, 9 flat from DJ Stevie O. So big scores here for Pier 76. So they deliver some pizza. So thank you to Pier 76. And we're going to move right on into our next segment.
Doc,
Peach,
real quick.
we're not going to move right
hold
on.
on.
He's got something ready.
Because the pierogies you said.
Oh my God, I love pierogies.
See, I boil mine first, and then I pan fry them with a little butter and crisp them up on the outside. That's my way to do pierogies. People like them boiled. People like them, in the oven. I do boil, 3-4 minutes, little salt. Then I put them in a little frying pan, a lot of butter, and I make them nice and crisp on the outside. I take a little paper towel, I dry it off, And I tell you, they come out phenomenal.
That is the correct way, Pete.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, some people just boil it. I'm like,
No.
It's like a bad wonton. Like you
No, that's
gotta
lazy. You can't be lazy with your
No,
food.
listen, what you want to save a pot? So what? You do an extra dish. You got to have a nice crispness on the outside, a little crunch, right?
Little love into it.
Take the time with the cooking. Plus, but for me, when I cook, that's my stress reliever. That's my zen. I love being in the kitchen. Today I got chicken cutlets. All I was doing an hour and a half of chicken cutlet filleting. I was making chicken salad. I got things shaken baked. This is
You're a
what we do.
multitasker, Pete.
Yeah, listen, it keeps me out of the way from the kids that are playing, and I'm losing my mind because there's toys and dolls and everything. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay in the kitchen.
Well, you asked me the question. I do two things. One, I put it in the air fryer, or two, I order it on my phone and it comes to my house. I'm not much of a chef. But I have put the pierogies just from the box, the frozen ones, in the air fryer. 10 minutes, they come out nice and crispy. Cook them a little bit too long, they kind of break, and then the cheese leaks out. Don't need that in my life.
No, you got to keep that in there.
But I love pierogies. Jimmy Mac's also a great place for some really, really good pierogies. There's a place down on 4th Avenue over in Brooklyn, phenomenal place down on the terrace. Like I can hunt down pierogi. Once in a while, I just need my pierogi fix, and we'll go get that done.
Can we get Jimmy Mac's next podcast?
I think we can.
The Jimmy Mac's Mary Mac.
The chicken
Hero.
sandwich hero.
Oh my god. Oh, next level.
Really?
You get that in a who cares pie. You can sleep for 2 weeks. It's just, and Jimmy Mac's is not an official sponsor, but I bet you if we ask them, they would be. They're just with the Jimmy McGratty's just the nicest guy, and that place is a top-notch establishment here in Staten Island.
Jimmy would Venmo us money right now to be a sponsor.
Absolutely,
He's a great
100%. Great guy who does a lot for
And
the
he's
neighborhood.
genuine too. And what he gives back to the community is
It's
just
unmatched.
phenomenal.
Yeah. And we'll happily give him some free promos here because Jimmy Mac's is just awesome. Staten Island is awesome. Pier 76 Pizza, awesome. Peach, the New York Knicks. We'll just go with a little bit of a, just briefly talk. Yesterday, scored 146 points. The Knicks are now third in the
I'll
division.
fact check you. 143. I got the paper.
143? I thought it was 146. Okay, 143. Knicks have been battling. They've been fighting back and forth. They're right there with the Celtics for second in the division, playing really, really good basketball. You could tell. The big question is the starters. Like the Knicks have amongst the most minutes played in the NBA. The Knicks starting five is in the top 8, I believe, amongst the top first 10. It's insane, the numbers. Like Tibbs really, and he did it again last night. Again, we're recording this on a Sunday. The game's on Saturday night. Knicks up 20, cruising against a pretty bad team, and who wasn't playing well, to say the least. The Kings aren't a bad. Take that back. The Kings aren't a bad team, but they weren't playing well. Towns goes back into the game with 4 minutes left. It's one thing to have him in the game and not take him out, but he goes back in with 4 minutes left. He's driving baseline. We're up 26. He's going to the ground along the baseline. As a Knicks fan, that's huge. The biggest Tom Thibodeau fan there is. I got to be critical. It's ridiculous. He really has to stop. These complaints are warranted. Listen, you want to play him a lot of minutes during games. You want to keep it close and win, fine. But once we're up 20, empty that bench. They're pros. You'll be all right, for crying out loud.
Yeah, there's no reason for him to be back in that game last night, and especially what you said, up by 20 points. And you only got 1 or 2 that are legitimately come off the bench and do something. And we know nothing about Robinson. He just gets pushed back left and right. But right now, listen, the Knicks started in the first half of January, a tremendous December. First half in January, they weren't doing so good. They had a tough road trip. But right now, it seems like, listen, only 2 games behind Boston in the East. And they're playing on all cylinders. To score 143 points, that used to be an all-star type game. All-star games, they score 280 points now. It's almost stupid. I just want to just get rid of the game.
Oh, well, I'll inform you, Peach. I'll actually teach you something. I think what they're doing is pretty cool now with the All-Star game. Are you unfamiliar, Stevie? If you don't know, it's really cool. So there's going to be 2 teams of 12. They're going to have the 5 starters that were elected, and then they're going to add 7, whatever the math would be, 7 more to have 2 teams of 12.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're going to take the Rising Stars game. They have the game. They have like the sophomores play the rookies, I think, whatever it is. They're going to take the winner of that game, 8 players. They're going to take the 24 guys and make 3 teams of 8, and they're going to have like a little mini tournament type thing. But 2 teams of 8 playing against one another.
This is the first year to do it now?
Yeah, this is all brand new. I just read about it myself.
They had to change it up. It was getting stale. I don't know if you guys know. I used to work All-Star game every year for the NBA. I worked with Matt Franzweb, John Olsen.
Oh, legends.
Yeah, so I've been around the country, even to Canada, and I've seen all these games. I've seen some legendary games, awesome games, but it's getting stale, and they had to change this up because it's becoming unwatchable. Like you said, the over-under is 285, and it goes over.
And it goes
they
over
can
every
make
year.
it 315. It goes over. It just doesn't matter. It's just play some defense.
Even like the slam dunk contest is kind of getting boring. Like like the 3-point contest was cute back in the day. You had it was nostalgic. But now, even like that, it's like, does anybody really care about that? It's like the All-Star baseball game. Does anybody really care? And now, listen, it does. At least they made it matter now. The NBA All-Star, the Major League Baseball, where the winner actually gets the home field advantage.
Not anymore.
They stopped
They
that.
did
Too?
that for they got stopped. They got rid of that because teams were using.
When
it.
did that stop?
Been a while now. The Yankees, I think it was with the Yankees. It benefited the Yankees, so MLB took it away. But no, they don't do that anymore, which has hurt the game overall, at least as far as from a competitive standpoint. But in certain areas, I mean, if you're an all-star playing for a last place team, I don't think you're concerned with any. I don't think you're going to try any harder or do anything. Or if you're a manager, not sure how much it affected things. But when it comes to the NBA, you know what you can say? They're trying.
Okay.
Like Stevie O pointed out, like they're trying something different. You can get mad about it if you'd like, but you can't complain if they do the same, if they keep it the same, and then also complain when they make a change.
Yeah, it's almost though they're trying too hard. Like I was at that game when Blake Griffin jumped over the Kia, I think. Sometimes it was. And that was like the beginning of the end. It's like, come on, it's getting a little too gimmicky now. I was like 6 feet. I think I'm in the background if you look at the video. I'm right there. I'm like, that's cool. But where are we going from this? You're jumping over cars.
See, I think I like this. I like the props. I like everything. I think the dunk contest started to die a slow death when Nate Robinson consistently missed dunks. And then whenever it used to be, if you missed, you missed. That was it. The redos are killing me. You got to nail it on the first try. If not, that's it. Or, give them 30s. But these guys that go 4 or 5, 6 times trying the same dunk, if you land it on the 6th, 7th try, it's just not as impressive.
And if you miss on the first dunk and then you nail the second one, you shouldn't get a perfect score.
No,
Absolutely not.
It's not perfect.
Or if you want to say even a second one, you can still give 9s and 10s, fine. But for those guys that try 3 and 4 times of the same dunk, it's just embarrassing. Not embarrassing because they're trying. If you think about it, we grew up watching like Dominique Wilkins. Dominique Wilkins did like a windmill, and we were all blown away. Guys now do windmills off the lob, reverse through their legs like insane. Like the advancements. And I give the credit to just technology and diet and the way their bodies are taken care of. So these guys just, Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine is the best dunk contest of all time, and it's not even close.
100%.
And anybody wants to argue, you're wrong, I'm right. It was by far and away the greatest dunk contest ever. Yep. It destroys anything Jordan and Neek did. Not the nostalgia. They're not as good of players as those two, but what they did as far as the difficulty of the Aaron Gordon one under his legs to the other side with the left, unbelievable.
Not even human. I was there live for that.
Oh wow,
luckily,
that's a good one.
Amazing. But yeah, the evolution of humans is just rapidly. The speed is just insane.
It's almost
in
like
20 years, what's going to be going on?
Right. It's almost like I'd rather see an amateur dunk contest because you see some of these guys that they don't play in the NBA, they don't play college or anything. They're just natural born athletes that just do creative dunks. I'd rather almost see just like, you know what? Forget about the NBA. Bring in amateurs. At least people might watch it, be like, yo, who's this up and coming person that is just insane? Like, who won a dunk contest? The kid's not even in the NBA. What do you win it 2 years in a row?
McClung, yeah. McClung, not in the league, but can jump. Yeah,
absolutely insane the things that he did. But listen,
if you brought in Lethal Shooter is like a trainer. He's a guy who trains the pros. His rate is like insane. But I have zero doubt Lethal Shooter could compete in an NBA 3-point contest. You know what I mean? These guys that specialize in it. You see the guys on the internet. You don't see the 45 they missed, but that one time you throw off the wall and catch it backwards with your left and do all this crazy stuff. The internet's really changed the game as far as dunking. But as far as what you said, Pete, 1,000%. There are people out there dunking a basketball that can do it much better than anyone in the NBA can.
Absolutely. Listen, that's their trade. That's their gimmick for trying to make money and going to different like a high school event or like a summer camp or something. And next thing you know, that it's like an astonishing of like, wow, did he just do that? And he's not in the NBA, but that's what they do. That's their trade. They go out there and they do special dunks and they get the $500 for showcasing and they move on.
Speaking of trade, that was before we move on from this. We're talking our beloved Knicks. We're fighting along, 3rd place. I think 4th place in the conference, 2nd place in the division. Everything's going great. Everything's going according to plan, on pace for about 58 to 60 wins. Great stuff, right? 2 all-star starters. That hasn't happened in my lifetime. I think Reed and Frazier, I believe. Reed and I'm blanking who. Not Reed. It was Clyde Frazier and Earl Monroe. Sorry, thank you, Stevie. Well, the last time 2 all-star. Jalen Brunson will be starting point guard in the East, and although I'm not sure actually with the change-up, I'm not even sure they're going to be on the same team, but they're both going to be all-stars. Karl-Anthony Towns has been the greatest trade in Knicks history, I think, already. You could say that without question. He's been nothing short of spectacular. All-star starting center, Jalen Brunson, all-star starting point guard. As a lifelong Knicks fan, a real, true Knicks fan, like I know DJ Stevie O is, I couldn't be happier, more proud of the New York Knicks.
Listen, at least we have a New York team that's actually winning and actually enjoyable to watch. Because
enjoyable.
after this, I couldn't wait for this football season to end, and you know the way the Yankees ended, and the Mets too. So. You know, listen, you have spring training coming up in almost a month.
Pitches and catches, yeah. We're days away at this point.
Yeah.
Peach, I'll go quick. We didn't have this on a docket, but I'll just put you under the spotlight a little bit. How do you feel about the Giants bringing back Shaolin and bringing back Dabbs? How you bring about the Giants? Bring everybody back, basically.
You know,
other than Jones, of course. Thank God.
I think they're giving Dabbs a chance because, listen, Jones was never going to be. It wasn't his pick. It wasn't anything to do with him. So I think they said, and this is why I like what they're doing, because the players do like him.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the exit interviews, what I was talking about earlier on, they went in there and said, listen, it's not him. We just didn't have camaraderie. Did I do it?
Camaraderie. You said it right that time. Nailing it.
So they didn't.
ELA class.
They didn't have that with, you know, like what was going on, because it was from the start of the season with Jones, whether he was going to be that guy, and then he was playing, not playing, it was coming off, and it was just all over the place. But you can't just keep changing NFL head coaches because that's what you think you're supposed to do. Like, I know you want to point a finger at somebody, but you know what? I do like the fact they're keeping him, and I'm curious to see what the Giants do in terms of with the draft. And I don't know what to do in terms of quarterback, because really you only have two out there, legitimately.
Yeah, I think. Well, consensually, Ward and Sanders are the top. They're jamming that Alabama quarterback into the conversation. I don't happen to agree based on what I've seen. I don't agree with Sanders. I just think the size and the inconsistency in big
he can
games.
Sling the ball.
He can throw it. Listen, if they draft Sanders, I'm not going to be mad about it necessarily. But I don't
even think he goes that. I think he goes earlier.
He probably does. That's what they're saying. Yeah. But it could go Ward, Sanders 1-2, which gives Hunter to us at 3, which I would love. That Hunter's who I'd like to have.
I agree.
I'm not sold on Ward. I'm not sold on Sanders. I'm not sold on any of these quarterbacks.
I'm not sold on any rookie quarterback anymore. I'm done with the rookies.
Well, after watching Jaden Daniels, I'm going to keep my mind open in case I trust my eyeballs in certain situations.
Far and few between, though, Doc.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As you see by the number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams, had a miserable season for Chicago, although Ben Johnson will be coming to help him out. So, all right, moving along here. Next quick segment, we're going to sponsor Randall Manor Tavern, 735 Castle Avenue, 347-855-2724, randallmanortavern.net. We just had some Pier 76 pizza. We could have got pizza from Randall Manor. They got some of the best pizza you're ever going to get. Different specials. We've always talked about Stevie's Fried Chicken. My guy Noah, Daydream Venturella, just great people. Random out to have a peach.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time before they move shop to Forest Avenue. I know. I was with Dream yesterday, and listen, he says 7 to 10 days often, but hopefully it really is 7 to 10 days. I think his ultimate goal is to make sure that he's up there for St. Paddy's Day, which would be a tremendous scene like it always is on St. Paddy's Day. I know the businesses make a very good family helping of money, but you know what? There's nowhere else to go because those 4 or 5 establishments right there in the mix between Duffy's, he has the backyard, and we'll talk about little Super Bowl things with what he's doing.
Absolutely.
And you have Duffy's to Kettle, and then you have across street to their brother, their sister, Holber, and then you have Jody's, Randall Manor. Like, you can't beat a quarter mile of just having to find tremendous places.
It's the kind of neighborhoods have, like we're special here in West Brighton. We're very blessed, and literally we're very blessed to have Randall Manor Tavern as part of our conglomerate and a sponsor here of this segment here. Pete Alonso remains unsigned. Met big production for the Mets. Didn't have the greatest season. Batting average dropped, RBIs, home runs dropped. But when it mattered, he had the biggest hits for the season for the Mets last year. They kind of moved on. They did re-sign a first baseman, not for big money, and he's someone that's flexible to move around. So it's not the nail in the coffin as far as Alonso to the Mets, but it doesn't look likely. And now someone like Pete Alonso, who you thought would get 8 years, $200 million, $175 million, and stuff like that, is still a free agent with pitchers and catchers about less than a month away.
Yeah, actually, I was having a conversation the other day about him, and I would be a little concerned if I'm Pete Alonso of like what's going on? Like, if I'm him, I'm going to my agent. I'm like, listen, all right, so it doesn't look like the Mets want me. The Yankees would have probably jumped on it, and it's still not out of the equation. But he wants to stay in New York. That we know. He loves being in New York, but. He's the wild card where, he really doesn't have a place right now.
Yeah, and it's probably not a place of the Yankees. You gave Goldschmidt $13 million, right, and you have a DH. You have a permanent DH. If there was a DH spot open, there's probably some flexibility. Toronto, they're saying, which sounds weird to me, with Guerrero parked at first base, where apparently they can do a situation like the Yankees could if they didn't have Stanton. with Alonso and Guerrero rotating first base DH. So they seems to be the next likely location for him, perhaps on one of those 2 to 3 year deals with an opt out after the first season, so he can reestablish himself in the market with the big season. But surprise from us, at least from my opinion, as far as that. So that's Pete Alonso. Let's talk about Onyx Cycles, Pete. Onyx Cycles from Brick, New Jersey, #1 motor shop for all your motorcycle needs, from performance to audio, as well as custom paint jobs. Onyx drives for excellence with every bike they touch. They're at Onyx Cycles on Instagram, 732-889-8230. Big event this weekend down in Atlantic City, Pete.
So Onyx Cycles, they're a premier company, and what Rashid Simmons has done with them, he started up just out of a whim. Like, he was always a bike enthusiast. But he's down to Showboat in a big bike event this Saturday, February 1st. I'm actually going down because I haven't seen my brother in about a month or two, and I'm going down just to hang out with him. Just show brotherly love. So our goal is, hopefully, if it's possible, that we can get down there and maybe do a live broadcast or maybe a podcast, whatever it is. But if anybody wants to go down to Atlantic City at the Showboat, it is a tremendous event. I've been to these bike shows before. They're extraordinary. They have they have the music things on, the amount of money that these people put. You see
Gotta spend money to make money.
The Jackson Barrett auctions. I would never even buy a car but the amount of money that people go into these motorcycles and cars and they collect. They're huge events, and it's exciting for me because I love them. Thinking about Onyx Cycles as a sponsor, I just love Rashid Simmons and what he's done for Shaolin Sports and everything. And he's not a Staten Island company. He's down in Brick, and it's just going to be a nice showing.
Hop on the outer bridge. Grab the Garden State Parkway. You'll be there in about
Middle lane,
in
71.
40 minutes. And you're going to get the best service. You tell him Shaolin Sports sent you. I guarantee Rashid Simmons will take care of you.
Absolutely.
He's a former New York Giant, if you're unaware, too. So,
yeah,
anybody that played with my good friend Peachy and for my beloved New York Giants is a friend of the Shaolin Sports Podcast. And look forward to our future clothing line will come in conjunction with Onyx Cycles soon. We're looking forward to that. Right now, I'm wearing basic black hoodie because Stevie O said I couldn't wear my bright blue shirt. So
hold on, Stevie. Doc came in. He knew that you have to wear dark colored shirt, right?
I tell him every week.
He came in with a Hawaiian blue, like he worked at
button down shirt because my shoulder's messed up.
What's
I'm in
the
a sling.
cheeseburger place that they have
I
in
love
Hawaii?
cheeseburgers.
I know we know that. You
have
take the lettuce
cheeseburgers?
off.
In-N-Out Burger?
No, what's the Hawaiian themed place? It's
What? Oh, that's I know what you're saying.
I don't know what you're saying.
Okay,
but I want to go.
I know
it's a
exactly,
big cheeseburger joint, but Ray,
Hawaiian buns, those little Hawaiian rolls. I love those.
Ray came in
Little sliders on Hawaiian rolls.
It was listen. I like a nice.
It's got beer bottles on the shirt. Did you notice that?
By the way, it was glowing. It was like
my
it was,
shirt.
It needed batteries. Look at it. High noon.
It's a high noon shirt.
This guy,
But I can't wear it on the air apparently because they're not a sponsor.
no, because it
so.
goes against the
No,
black.
it
It goes
has
against
nothing to
the
do with
green
the
screen.
sponsorship.
They're not a sponsor, so I'm not wearing it. High noon. If you want to be a sponsor, get me a black shirt, and I'm allowed to wear it on the podcast.
It's like Mardi Gras. The guy came from. He had beads on his neck. I'm like, what? It's Fat Tuesday. What is going on here?
So, despite my surgically repaired shoulder, I've now got into Stevie O Jr.'s sweatshirt. I'm in here.
No, that's my shirt.
It's a kid's medium. I'm in here. I'm doing the best I can.
By the way, it's a 3/4. You can't see it on the camera.
I'm gonna have to cut it off me in the end, and that's all right. So shout out to who are we talking about? We were talking about the Onyx Cycles, Rashid Simmons, and then Rashid Simmons is gonna bring us to Jimmy Butler. You want to talk about Rashid Simmons, Salt of the Earth Class Act? When Jimmy Butler begged his way out of Minnesota years ago, I was like, I'm not a big fan of people that decide I'm not going to work anymore. Stevie O's a fireman. I'm sure he would much rather be home with his family than fighting fires, right? You're a teacher. You'd rather be home with your family or doing something else. I'd rather be home with Wu-Tang, right? We all rather be home doing things. But when you have a job, you have to go. Jimmy Butler didn't like his situation in Minnesota, complained, bitched and moaned, got his way out. He's doing the same thing again now in Miami. He took him to 2 NBA finals, one in the bubble, one non. He's certainly been arguably the greatest Heat player of all time. Outside of Dwayne Wade, but he certainly is up there amongst the echelon of all-time Heat players. He's done tremendous things, and now he's just going Butler. He's not showing up for flights. He's refusing to play. He's not practicing, and he's really acting like a prima donna. And this is a messy, messy situation in Miami. And as someone who can't stand Pat Riley, who quit the Knicks via fax overnight, You had my hopes up in 1994. It brought me such joy when Pat Riley quit the New York Knicks via fax to go to Miami. He was always dead to me. So bleep Pat Riley, bleep Pat Riley, and I'm glad to see that I'm glad to see his empire falling. I'm glad to see that his comments about Butler really ticked Butler off. I'm happy Miami's a big dumpster storm. I hope that whole place just goes right into that little ocean they have right next to their arena, as far as I'm concerned. But Pete, Jimmy Butler going prima donna. What do you think?
No, he's detrimental to that team. He's a thorn in their side, and they're in a conundrum. They are.
Look at that. We're nailing it today.
They're in a bad
Sarah,
position.
Good work. You must be working some at-home lessons.
No, she holds up like cue cards.
She
It's
sits
like
down. Yeah, I can
you know,
see
like when I teach my Harper, she sounds the words out on a 3-syllable type thing.
Little phonetics. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, but they're in a situation where no one really wants him at this point, because I think that someone would have picked him up. And he wants nothing to do with Miami. And listen, Miami in the Southwest, they're in second place. I know they're a 500 team. I think they're 22-22.
They're fighting,
right?
They're fighting.
They're in the mix, but he just doesn't want to be there, and they can't find a good enough reason to get rid of him because no one wants that headache. And
it's also contractual. He makes $50 million. In the NBA, if you're going to make a trade, you got to take back $50 million. So Golden State would require Wiggins and a bunch of other guys. He wants to go to the Suns, but the Suns have no one to offer other than Beal. Beal has a no-trade clause, so Beal's not going to be the guy,
right,
unless he wants to go to Miami, which I guess could be conceivable. So there's a few teams that might be interested in him, but it's
a big number.
You don't want to make yourself a malcontent before you get traded. You don't want to, embarrass yourself. And that's what I think he's doing. But as I said, as a Knick fan, a Pat Riley hater for life, I'm glad to see Miami's falling apart a little bit. Although, like you pointed, I did not realize that 22-22, they're sitting right there. You make a trade you get rid of Butler and bring back a couple of quality NBA players. Miami will probably go on a run. Spoelstra can't stand Pat Riley. Although I recognize his greatness as a coach and a GM, Spoelstra as a coach is as good as it gets. And if you give him a roster, he'll win. And if you give him a playoff series, he's certainly capable of beating anybody. Hopefully, he's not playing against the Knicks. Don't need to see that in my life. Moving along, Pete, let's do some high school basketball.
Go.
We've done a lot of St. Peter's.
Mm-hmm.
Playoffs are rolling around right now. So the end of the week is just coming to an end. Again, we're recording this on a Sunday. We'll start in the Catholic League. Basically, they're inverse. As far as head-to-head records, they play in different divisions of the Catholic League. So their non-league their league schedule. We're just focused on their record versus one another. Peters 4-1, C 4-1, Farrell 1-4, Moore 1-4. So that's the varsity level.
Mm-hmm.
Moore plays Peters and C plays Farrell on Friday. Shaolin Sports will be bringing that live coverage of Peters Moore on Peters Senior Night on Friday night, live on Local Live. Keep a look out for that. And thanks to my guy, Pete Trutron, one of the true good guys in the industry, providing me this data. So if it's wrong, send all of your hate mail to Pete. I'm sure he'll be happy to receive. A shout out to my guy, Matt Genovese. For no particular reason, just a really good dude. Anyway, so Peters 4-1, C 4-1. Then you have Curtis and Wagner playing a different division. Both battling, Wagner having a stronger season than Curtis so far. But Curtis would have win over Peters. So if you take away they have a very tough league. We're going to see how that falls as far as who finishes ahead, Curtis and Wagner, and then how they break it all down. Right now, it looks like Curtis would have the advantage having beat St. Peter's. And I believe they beat C. That part I don't have in front of me. Again, I probably should do a little bit more research, but we'll see what happens. After it all shakes down, what the records will be. Curtis, Peters, C, certainly at the top. In the rest of the division, the other division of Staten Island with all the PSCL, Tottenville's 9-2, Charlie Donahue's McKee MSIT's 8-4, Newdorp 7-4, Porchman 7-4. So second place still up for grabs. We'd be remiss if we didn't shout out Charlie Donahue, fifth all time in wins now. Just keeps racking them up. Doesn't matter what type of team he has, what type of players he has. Charlie Donahue, Peach, no one can get kids to perform better than Charlie Donahue, and it shows with the tremendous success he's had in a relatively short time span at McKee Staten Island.
You know what? It's not even what he does. Listen, he does a tremendous job at McKee with the basketball, and he like you said, he's fifth right now. But the amount of time that he puts in of coaching down at Snug Harbor and his camps, and he's the kid. Listen, I say kid because he's older than me, but Charlie
he looks younger than everybody in this room.
The amount of time he gives on every scenario is tremendous. Of everything he puts it 100%. And I listen. I've known Charlie for many years now. Tremendous coach, great father. He just does everything right to perfection, and kind of what we want to do with Shaolin Sports, but he really does go over and above of what he does in terms of coaching and being that guy.
Yeah, we probably get Charlie involved with Shaolin Sports, but Lauren might literally kill us. So we'll hopefully get Charlie in studio one time for an interview as such. But he wears a lot of hats. President of Staten High School League is one of them. I've had some conversations with him regarding JV and varsity and such, and just look to help out any way I possibly can with my limited knowledge. So we'll see how it all shakes out. It looks like the top of the division in some kind of order will be Curtis Peters C. Tottenville and the PSEL have something to say about that. And then Susan Wagner. I'm sorry, I missed Susan Wagner. Susan Wagner right at the top, as good as anybody. Those are probably the four top teams. And I don't know the order because I don't have records all in front of me. But Peters C, Curtis, and Susan Wagner are the top four, I would imagine, in some order here on Staten Island come playoff time. Tottenville's a tough team. You know, they spread you out. They do different things. You can never count Charlie Donahue. My beloved New Dorp Central is having a great year. Port Richmond's been battling a lot lately. Jeremy Smalls will always have you up and he always has different defensive fronts, things like that. And then Farrell and Moore, listen, if you're going to my guy Mike Dunn's as good as it gets, and Coach Burns has forgotten more basketball than all of us know. So it should be a really entertaining Staten High School League tournament. And we'll have more information in our next podcast. We'll get a lot more into high school basketball here on Staten Island. But that's going to bring the end of our coverage this week. And we'll bring more next week as the regular season comes to an end and the Staten Island High School League tournament begins to upcold. So, Peach, we're going to go now. We're wrapping this up pretty soon. We're going to go to our Fun Facts segment. Our Fun Facts segment is sponsored in part by the lovely, amazing people at Snug Harbor Little League, SSHLL.org. Go to the website, register for the spring. $50 off if you do it before the end of the month, which is this week sometime, I'd imagine. If you go after that, Peach, and you say you're from Shaolin Sports or Shaolin Sports sent me, they'll still give you $50. $50
It's a lot of money these days.
If you met $50 is, you know, it's a dinner, it's a movie, it's
definitely not a movie. It's not a dinner.
It's a movie. You can buy 2 tickets to the movies.
Barely.
It's not dinner and a movie, but it's dinner or the movie.
Or you can rent the movie at home and order a pizza. That might get you the $50.
If you have it delivered and you tip, it's almost the same thing. Yeah, it's just, you know, and actually order on the apps with the fees and all this other crap. It certainly does add up. But if you go down to Snug Harbor, $50 off. Go to the website again is SSHLL.org. We call him Dilly. Jimmy Thompson, just should be Dennis Thompson. Mr. Thompson, Jimmy is just an absolute living legend. Raised some good boys over there. My guy Boats, you know, a legend. All the Thompson boys, just all absolutely just salt of the earth guys, and they really built Snug Harbor into like a little league, majestic little league place that takes your breath away. Top notch snacks.
Right. No, I was talking to Dilly the other day, and I think he's right now registered close to 700.
Let's get to 1,000.
Right.
Let's get him to 1,000. Let's get there. Tell him Shaolin Sports sent you.
And by the way, Shaolin Sports has the contract.
We have a contract? We're getting fancy.
What do I want to say? Not contract.
It's not a contract. We're not building. We have the contract with Snug Harbor.
Yeah, but there was a bigger word I was looking to use. It slipped my mind. I'm trying to watch the game over here at the same time. But either way, Shaolin Sports is covering Snug Harbor starting from, I think, March 21st. I think we might have a high school first game. I'm not sure who it is off the top of my head. There's 2 different schedules I was looking at. But we will be covering a lot of Snug Harbor starting in spring through the summer.
Peach, look at DJ Stevio. He's got this little label maker.
He's got so much going on.
He's got this little machine that's just printing out stickers.
I wish we can almost turn the camera around and actually see what.
No, he's always doing
production
something.
is.
Like he's never just chilling out. Like I just like to sit down and do nothing.
I never seen so much gadgets. He's pulling things out of his pocket.
There's a slow cooker over there. He's got everything going on. My goodness,
you love the slow cooker.
You love a good air fryer, slow cooker. I like anything that's simple.
Takes up so much space.
That's true. I get complaints about that, but it is a space taker. But
I got a nice crock pot upstairs.
I do love a good crock pot. You can throw anything in a crock pot.
The pot roast.
Just put anything in a crock pot. And go to work. Come back 8 hours later. It's sitting there, wonderful. My fun fact, which I've heard it before. I heard it again the other day. Shout out to my guy Robert John Patterson. He's a big fan of the Shaolin Sports podcast. He says, "I hope this never ends." And Bagel's my main man. I hope it won't. You're gonna love this fun fact. Peach,
go.
2001 Miami Hurricanes. In my opinion, the greatest team in the history of college football. Andre Johnson, Ed Reed, Ken Dorsey, Phil Buchanan, Brian McKinney, Clinton Porras, DJ Williams, Jeremy Shockey, Jonathan Vilma, Willis McGahee, Ontrell Roll, Najee Davenport, Vince Wilfork, Frank Gore, Sean Taylor, William Joseph, just to mention some of the NFL players in that list.
Okay.
They won national champions, went 12-0, right? If the 2001 Miami Hurricanes did not score an offensive touchdown, Let's say they did not put their offense on the field at all. They did not score an offensive touchdown. They would have gone 8-4 that season.
Just off defensive
Just
scores.
off, well, defense, special teams,
Right.
interceptions, whatever you want, fumble, recoveries, whatever. But if they scored 0 offensive touchdowns, they would have gone 8-4.
That's sick.
That is like serious. Like that is why we do these segments, and it just blew my mind. I would say one more time: if they had 0 touchdowns on offense, if their offense never took the field, they would go 8-4. Which 8-4 is like we'll get Bill Belichick a big, huge bonus over at North Carolina. 8 wins is a big deal in college football, and I just think it's an incredible stat and just shows that particular Miami Hurricanes team, in my opinion, very debatable. There's a lot of great teams out there. The best team in the history of college football.
No, listen, and you throw in Burrow's team at LSU, and I think they went 17-0. They were a good team too, but not a stat like that. They would have been 8-4 without a 0 scored on offense.
Insane, right?
No, it is.
Did you see, Peach, before we go to yours, all the rookies of the year came from LSU this year. Like Daniels on offense, the guy on defense, all were LSU players that were nominated for all 3 positions. That was really cool. Anyway, Peach, how about you? Give me your fun fact.
So the other day I was in the shower and I was, just wiping my eyes with, a little soap got in there and I kept blinking. So I was like, how many times do you think I blink a day? So I happened just to look a little fun fact up and I was like, wait a second. You blink 15 to 20 times per minute. So I was like,
I wouldn't believe that. Yeah.
Right. No, I wouldn't either. Like I just blinked 3 times. I didn't know it like in a second. On average, they say that you can blink up to 28,800 times per day. That is insane. Now, I don't know if that's called blinking with your eyes closed with the, with the REM, the rapid eye movement. I don't know if they consider that, but like I'm
REM is rapid eye movement? Nice. I didn't know that.
Listen, it was a band too. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Stevie, what was the name of the band?
Me in the corner, right?
In the spot.
Yeah,
Losing my
REM,
right.
that's the name of the band, yeah.
But what did it stand for?
Rapid eye movement. Oh, well, the band, I don't know.
No, I know it's
Nobody
rapid eye
knows that.
I did not know it was rapid
Yeah,
eye
no.
movement. Makes a lot of sense.
So,
All right, I learned something.
REM is rapid eye movement. Okay. 28,500 times per day. And I'm watching you right now. You just blinked at 4, 5, 6. You just blinked
I'm
again.
surprised then, I'm going through my own medical stuff here, that people's eyelids don't start breaking. You get a windshield wiper, it works for a couple of years, it break. These things blink 28,000 days a year, but this thing keeps working for your entire life? Wow.
So I get my chops broken off my silly, stupid gaffes or whatever the heck I say, whether it's camaraderie or it's...
Well, you've gotten camaraderie down.
Or hornswoggle.
Can you tell us what the name of the animal with the large neck is?
That's a giraffe.
Yeah, so we're still on draft, which is
Right.
fine.
And then your conundrum, hornswoggle.
Hornswoggle is another one. And if you look at the screen here, DJ Stevie O always ready to go with the graphics.
I see the giraffes up there. They're munching on the screen. When you guys see it tomorrow, you'll be like,
There's going to be no screen left.
We changed bunny to rabbit.
We officially at Shaolin Sports. If you watch a broadcast and a kid misses it's called a bunny, a shot from in close inside the paint where you're not quite a layup, you got to shoot it. It's now a rabbit, so we call him rabbits.
No, you missed the rabbit.
You missed the rabbit. Good. All right, Peach, that was fantastic. Our last segment will be the thank you segment, and that segment is going to be brought to you by. Where did my list go? The list. Oh, we didn't talk about Duffy's, Peach. Duffy's. Oh my God. So Duffy's $65 Super Bowl, right? Super Bowl's in, I guess, 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, so it's going to be $65, open bar, food.
Have to make a reservation.
But if you have enough people that you would say you want to have 35, 45
get a big
people.
party. Get 40 people together.
You'll get the whole backyard barn where it's heated. You have the ceiling fans. You got 4 or 5 TVs back there. It's tremendous atmosphere because, listen, you're off the grid. And you have your own little space back there, and his food, and for what he does, he puts out tremendous amount of, the sliders and the pastas and the chickens. He does it right. And listen, no one does it right. Besides, our sponsors do everything right, from Random Manor to Duffy's to Jody's to who else?
Onyx.
I'm talking about the food distributors.
Yeah.
You can't beat any of these places. And listen, people call us and like they we don't reject sponsors, but we also want to know that we put our product behind their product and their product behind our product. So it goes vice versa. We want the best and they want the best, and that's what we get.
Absolutely. So, Peach, I'll go first. Thank you, Dr. Lomas, NYU Langhorne. They were my second opinion. I also should shout out the first doctor, but the name's escaping me. Shoulders have been really banged up for a while. A case of something called frozen shoulders, I'm told, is 98% in women. Congratulations to me to being that 2%. No surprise there. I had some other, I don't know all the words they use, but my shoulder was really messed up. I couldn't raise my arm above my shoulder for the last few months, and surgery was recommended. So went with my second opinion doctor, my fancy Manhattan doctor. I went there in the morning. I walked in at 6:15 for my appointment. By 6:30, I was in my full garb. One thing, Peach, I walked into the surgery. I've had a few surgeries. They put you on the bed, they wheel you in, right?
Mm-hmm.
I walked into the room like where you have the surgery. I didn't I got on the bed where I was going to the surgery perform itself, but I found very odd, but comforting. So I want to give a shout out, Dr. Lomas and all the amazing people, Nikki and everyone who the appointments and everything's just so well done. They coordinate with my physical therapy. It's been a very pleasurable experience. I've been in a lot of pain. I'm in a lot of pain still, but it's getting better. And thanks to Dr. Lomas and the people at NYU Langhorne, I am on the road to recovery. So I will use today's words to say thank you, Dr.
Brian,
Lomas.
did you say Dr. Lomas?
Dr. Lomas, yes.
Can I do it? Did you know?
Did you know? Fire away, Stevie.
Michael Myers' doctor is Dr. Lomas.
Oh, there you go.
Crazy.
I did not know this.
Michael Myers, the murderer?
Yeah, man. That guy. He was a fake murderer, but, you know.
No, but he's Michael Myers. Everybody knows Michael Myers.
Dr. Lomas, yeah. Yeah, that was the old guy. He killed him in the end.
Dr. Lomas came in, actually. He came in off the street. And I just found like teaching, you know, we work, you know, we come in, we turn our time card, we go teach first period, right? We walk in at 7:50, by the time 8 o'clock, we're ready to go. Same thing with him. He walks up the street, takes his jacket off, scrubs up, boom, start doing this guy's shoulder. You know, no big deal to him or anybody else. But NYU Langhorne, I've had some really rough experiences at hospitals here on Staten Island. NYU Langhorne was just like, boom, boom, boom. And I was home 11:30, like back in my house.
And then you did the broadcast that night.
And then, well, yeah, that was another, you know,
No,
a little bit insanity there. But
Right.
we,
Well, because you're insane.
well, I'm committed to Shaolin Sports, and
And
like
you're
I had the
insane.
block. Well, I was told I could get away with it because I had the blocker still in. I had the pain blocker. The next day, when that wore off, I couldn't do anything. But I did manage to survive that night, and a lot of that has to do with Dr. Lomas, NYU Langhorne. Anybody that has any kind of shoulder, or he did my mother's knee. He's just a real class act, and the whole operation. Shout out to those guys. Peach, thank you.
So I'm going to say the thank you to the guys that kept my two partners and my company together, our company together. Thank God that we both got good diagnosis for both you guys. Everybody's being fixed right now, and I'm going to say thank you to you both for going through a little heartache. And I was like a fish on its own little island. What am I looking for here? Like,
It was a little Finding Nemo. With
right?
Peach.
Yeah, I was lost. So, but that's my thank you that you guys are back with me, and we're back together as a family, and we're just going to keep moving forward. And what a great day this is.
Peach and I had a plan and involved him, a camcorder, just us, and trying to do it ourselves.
Oh God!
And then that plan lasted about 48 seconds, so we realized how stupid it was. We decided to wait DJ Stevie-O out, the best in the industry. So, episode 6, Peach, we are now in the books. I hope everybody enjoyed. We'll get back to a more weekly product as we go forward, as my shoulder heals and DJ Stevie-O continues to conquer the world's worst flu and everything else going on. This is Ray Palmer. To my left, Peter Timmons. Quietly in the corner, my man DJ Stevie-O. Using the label, making a label everything. This is Shaolin Sports. Tune in this Friday. St. Peter's hosting more Catholic. We're going to bring you live coverage. Lots of more things on the docket. Shaolin Sports, we continue to grow. Any sponsors that are interested, reach out to us. ShaolinSports1@gmail.com. Various social medias, do all that good stuff. Like and subscribe. Our sponsors, Jody's, Duffy's, RMT, Onyx, Snug, Loon Schwan. Keep them coming. Shaolin Sports. Ray Palmer signing off. Here we go, Staten Island.
Hit him up.
Yo, welcome to Shaolin Sports. Here we break it down. Local heroes and legend everywhere. The brand, the Ray Palmer and Pete bringing heat to your ears from Shaolin vibes. We gon' cook our beers. DJ Stevie on the mix. Keep the rhythm tight. From the court to the field, we gon' shine bright. Shaolin Sports. We got the passion. From the streets to the big league, it's the real no fashion. Tune into the hustle. Feel the drive and pride. On this podcast journey, we'll turn the tide.